four presidential candidates squared off in last night's SMNI presidential debate. COMELEC has started to remove illegal campaign materials along EDSA. Pulse Asia says survey figures are still fluid, but an expert says if Bongbong Marcos maintains his lead by March, it's probably game over. And Marcos Jr. will be heading to his home turf, Ilocos Norte, while Vice President Leni Robredo will be visiting indigenous peoples in Boracay today. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. The COMELEC has begun the Oplan Baklas operations today for the removal of illegal campaign materials along EDSA. To give us the latest, we have Hannibal Talete now joining us on the line from Pasay. Hannibal, good morning. Kamusta naman ang sitwasyon dyan ngayong umaga?
Hi Charles, good morning. Ito, sinimulan na ngayong araw ang pagbabaklas ng mga illegal campaign materials sa kahabaan ng EDSA. Katuwang ng COMELEC sa kanilang Oplan Baklas ang MMDA at PNP. Magmula sa Pasay, asosyuro ng COMELEC at ng mga MMDA at ng PNP ang bahagi ng EDSA hanggang Caloocan. At ayon nga sa COMELEC, dapat nakapaskil sa mga common poster area ang mga campaign paraphernalia. At ito ay may sukat lamang na 2x3 feet. Dapat may disclaimer kung sino ang nag-sponsor at nagpa-print ng naturang poster. Ngayon, at ang kasalukuyang nagbabaklas kayo dito sa bahagi ng Malibay Pasay, ilang posters ang sinampulan ng COMELEC na baklasin. Agaw pansin naman kasi ang isang tarpaulin na nakasabit ngayon sa isang building. Sa sobra na ang laki ng sukat nito at lagpas ito sa ibinigay na sukat ng COMELEC. Hindi rin kasi ito nag-comply sa ibinigay na notice ng COMELEC, kaya kung saan pinadala nito ng notice noong February 10. Dahil lagpas sa 3 araw na ibinigay na palugit ng COMELEC, kaya ang COMELEC na mismo ang magbabaklas ngayon dito mismo sa building na ito. Charles?
Maraming salamat, Hannibal Talete. The country's foreign policy and ongoing civil war became hot topics in the SMNI presidential debate that happened last night. A rundown of what the candidates said regarding these issues in this report from Camille Samonte.
Presidential candidates Bongbong Marcos Jr., Leody de Guzman, Norberto Gonzales, and Ernesto Abella laid out their platforms and strategies during the SMNI presidential debates. The first round of the debate focused on foreign policy and the candidates' position on the country's territorial dispute over the West Philippine Sea. De Guzman proposed to transform the contested area into an economic zone instead of a war zone.
Tingin ko dapat gamitin natin yung panalo natin sa International Tribunal at kakampihin natin yung mga iba pang mga hinaharas ng China. Sawayin, pigilan itong China sa kanyang ginagawang pangharas dito sa ating mga mangingisda.
Gonzales meanwhile vowed to take a stand against the claim of China.
Para bang nawala ng respeto ang bansa China sa atin. Kaya kung tayo kikilos, uunahin natin ang pagbibigay ng respeto sa ating bansa.
Marcos, on the other hand, claimed that this year's election was the first time when the nation's foreign policy with China became an issue.
Marami talaga tayong issue, hindi lamang sa conflicting camps sa gitna ng Pilipinas at saka China. Kaya't ngayon lang ang nakita kong national election na naging issue ang West Philippine Sea or ang foreign policy.
However, the country's policy on China actually became a central aspect of President Duterte's 2016 presidential campaign. In fact, it was during that time when he promised to personally take a jet ski to the contested territory to plant a Philippine flag there. The candidates were also asked if they are willing to disclose their sell-ins and sign a waiver of the bank secrecy law. All presidential bets present in the event said they have no problem in publicizing their sell-ins. Marcos, however, noted it is still a government official's prerogative to do so.
Sa aking palagay, yan ang desisyon ko bilang isang individual. Sa aking palagay ay hindi na kailangan palitan ng batas at nasa sa bawat opisyal na yan kung sila ba ay handa na ilabas ang kanilang salin.
But for Gonzales, all taxpayers should disclose their sell-ins and income tax returns.
Hindi lang sell-in ng mga public officials ang ipinopubliko. Public na ipinapublish ang lahat ng income tax returns ng buong sambayanan. Maganda siguro ganoon para pantay.
The long-standing issue of armed struggle, meanwhile, became a heated point of discussion among candidates. All candidates said they will be pushing for peace talks with communist insurgents. But de Guzman also pointed out that rebellion is rooted in injustice and poverty, and that this must be addressed.
Walang tao na gustong lumaban ng armado sa gobyerno na full battergill yung ating gobyerno. Pero maabot sa ganun dahil yung kasaysayan ng ating bansa ay puro panunupil at gumagamit ng dahas, pumapatay. Panahon ni Marcos, panahon ni Duterte, kay Gloria, ang daming pinatay.
Marcos quickly opposed de Guzman, saying he could not support an ideology that calls for an armed struggle.
Kahit anong paliwanag ang gagawin mo, hindi ako maaring sumang-ayon sa ideolohiya na ang ideolohiya may kasamang armed struggle para pabagsakin ang gobyerno. Kahit anuman ang dahilan, wala na talaga sa batas yan.
Gonzales, another presidential candidate, said that there could be a peaceful solution to poverty and injustice instead of armed struggle.
Yung mga sinabi ni Caliotti, pwede namang bigyan na ng mapayapang solusyon. Pwede na yan. At ang hindi lang nararapat ay pagka tayo ay nagkaroon ng mga hindi pagkakaintindihan na mga bagay na ganyan, gagamit tayo ng dahas. Hindi kailangan yan.
Marcos and Abella also voiced their support for the NTF-ELCA. The debate ended with candidates' respective closing statement on why must Filipinos vote for them.
Hindi ako magnanakaw. Pangalawa, hindi ako trapo. Hindi ako pamilya ng dinastiya na ang papasok lamang sa politika para magpayaman.
Sila ay sasama sa isang pagkilos na ang iniisip ay ang bukas. Tamang bukas na hindi nasasalalay sa isang tao, dalawang tao lamang.
Unang hakbang na kailangang gawin natin sa larangan, hindi lamang sa larangan ng politika, kung hindi sa ating lipunan, yun ang pagkakaisa.
Kung mababago po ang Pilipino at naging patas ang ating bayan at naging nararamdaman talaga ang gobyerno natin at naging matatag ang ating bayan, pwede po tayong humarap sa isang bagong Pilipinas na kung saan meron pong pwedeng 100 taon na umaangat, a 100-year rise of the Philippines.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
Despite Marcos Jr. claiming a staggering lead in the recent surveys, Pulse Asia says his victory in the elections is not yet cast in stone, with about half of the survey respondents still expected to change their minds. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro gives us the front seat to the story.
In the latest Pulse Asia survey, Ferdinand Marcos Jr. enjoys an unprecedented lead over his rivals, hitting 60% in the end of January. While this may seem like a titanic number, Ronald Holmes, president of the Pulse Asia, says the survey also shows that around half of those polled said that they could still change their minds before Election Day.
Halos kalahati ng mga botante nagsasabing maaari itong magbago o hindi na masabi kung magbabago o hindi magbabago.
Attorney Barry Gutierrez, spokesperson of Vice President Robredo, pointed out that the survey was conducted on January 19 to 24, which did not capture the Jessica Soho presidential interview, which Marcos skipped, and Holmes agreed.
Hindi pa nila masyadong ganap na nakuha kung ano nangyari doon sa Soho interview at yung kung ano man yung feedback sa hindi pagsipot o pagtanggi na ma-interview ang dating senador, no, na si Bongbong Marcos.
The question is, how willing are voters in a hyper-polarized election to cross from one extreme of the political fence to the other? According to Pulse Asia Executive Director Ana Tabunda, this is possible. She said that during the January survey, it was highly likely that Marcos got some of the votes of Robredo. Attorney Tony Lavinia, former dean of the Ateneo School of Government, said Marcos's message of unity appears to be working.
Unity, hindi kailangan magsabi ng detalye, di ba? Deny the past. That's very, very, very consistent yan.
While there might be 83 days before the election, both Lavinia and Holmes agreed that it is actually on April when voters make their final decision. These last-minute changes in voter behavior were also seen in the 2010 and 2016 presidential elections. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro, we are One News.
A political analyst says the results of the March surveys will be decisive in the upcoming elections. Local Government Development Foundation Executive Director Edmund Tayao agrees with Pulse Asia that the past surveys do not yet guarantee a win for Marcos Jr. But he said it will be decisive if BBM maintains its lead until the mid-March surveys. Tayao said the other candidates will find it hard to catch up to Marcos's 40 to 50% lead at that point.
So, ang nakikita ko lang na factor na makapagbabago doon ay itong ang mga darating ng mga debate kasi this is the only time that we will really be able to vet our candidates. Then, tagal na nating sinasabi na sa klase ng politika natin, the only way we can vet the candidates is directly by the people. And unfortunately, only through a very, simplistic means of itong public discussion o mga tinatawag na forums or debate.
Let's find out what the candidates are up to today. Vice President Leni Robredo will start the day by visiting the Ati community in Boracay, then meet with Vice Governor Ed Dinosta, other supporters, and church leaders. Former Senator Bongbong Marcos will return to Ilocos Norte with his running mate, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. They will attend a salubong at the Pagudpud border before joining a rally at the Sand Dunes. Action Democratico national candidates led by Manila Mayor Isko Moreno will have a motorcade from Los Baños to Cabuyao and then on to Biñan, Laguna. On the other hand, Senator Manny Pacquiao is expected to ride a PNR train from Magallanes to the Santa Mesa Vendor Sectoral Forum. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 9 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We're One News.